Hello, everyone, and welcome to the RV Inspection and Care podcast and video. I'm Dwayne, and I'm a certified RV inspector, and today we're going to be talking about how to buy a luxury Class A motorhome for less than $100,000. Now, before we begin, let me invite everybody who's listening to subscribe to my podcast so you don't miss any great episodes coming up, and to visit my website at rvinspectionandcare.com. There's hundreds of articles and videos there about RVs and RV life that I'm sure you'll enjoy. But today we're talking about how to buy a luxury Class A for under $100,000. And that may sound pretty crazy, because diesel pushers really are the luxury kings of the RV world and the motorhome world. And if you're thinking about a Class A diesel pusher or gas-powered RV, well, I first of all recommend that you get my Class A motorhome buying guidebook, because if you want to know what brands and manufacturers and models are building the best quality today, that's where you're going to find that information. So be sure to check that out. But the thing about buying new these days, or even slightly used, is that when you're talking diesel pushers, well, you're probably going to start around $300,000 and up from there. So that makes them kind of unaffordable for many RVers. So the question again then is, how can you get a diesel pusher motorhome that's really affordable, say under $100,000? Well, here's the secret. You need to buy a used one. And when we're talking used, my personal recommendation is to actually buy one 15 years old or more. Because here's an interesting point, and a lot of people don't know this, but between the year 2000 and 2007, some of the best quality Class A motorhomes that have ever been made were put out and produced. They were really making good quality in those years. But the economic crash of 2008 changed everything, and RV manufacturers cheapened up their product. And the unfortunate truth is this: it's never really gone back to where it was before the crash. Not the same kind of really quality materials and building methods anymore. But here's the good news. We have several of these older, great RVs out there that were made so well, and they're still viable choices for an RV to choose. In fact, they can be a great choice for RVers who can't afford a new diesel pusher today, but would like to be able to enjoy a lot of the luxuries and comforts that diesel pushers offer. So the question is this: what brands should you be looking for back there in, say, 2000 to 2007? Well, let me give you some suggestions. I can't cover them all today, but I'll give you 5 brands and some models that they make that you should really focus on. Number 1 is Newmar. Newmar makes the Dutch Star, the Country Star, and the Mountain Air that are all fantastic diesel pusher motorhomes from those years. And if you have listened to my channel very much, you know that I'm a big Newmar fan. I believe that they put out some really good quality coaches. So you can't go wrong with those 3 models from Newmar. Now, the second one I'm going to suggest is Tiffin. Once again, Tiffin is really high on my list of manufacturers that have good quality methods and materials that they use. And so if you can find an Allegro bus during those years, well, then that's a real good candidate for buying an RV. The third manufacturer is Country Coach. And Country Coach was building some fantastic RVs during that period of time. Look for the models of Allure and Affinity. They would be very good choices. Next up is American Coach. Now, American Coach is actually kind of the luxury division for Fleetwood RV, but they sort of took on a life of their own and kind of became their own entity in the minds of many people. And they built some very luxurious RVs, a lot of real nice features. And the models that you can look for there is the American Dream, American Eagle, and American Tradition. Look for those and you'll find that you'll get a very good, that's a good place to start. Now, the fifth one is Monaco. Monaco built a lot of RVs during that period of time. In fact, they were buying up other RV manufacturers too during that time. But the models of Dynasty, Windsor, and Executive could be very good choices for you. Now, as you can see, just with these 5 manufacturers, we've got a lot of models that we could choose from to get a really nice diesel pusher motorhome that's built with very high quality. And here's the great thing. You can buy these great older coaches for pennies on the dollar compared to what they sold for new. And that's a great thing. You're still going to be able to enjoy all the quality, all the amenities, all the luxuries, but you get it at a much lower price and way lower than newer diesel pushers these days. So what do you want to look for? Well, here's my suggestion. Number one, try to find one of these older coaches that has all of its repair records intact. In other words, someone has maintained them very well, they kept a really good record, and you can verify that by the records that they kept. That indicates that somebody's really taken care of that motorhome. Number two is before you buy anything that goes back in those years, get an RV inspection by a certified NRVIA inspector. Because yes, there could be hidden problems, hidden issues in motorhomes that are that old. But if you have an inspector go through it, he's not going to be just looking at how nice it is. He's going to tell you what the issues are, what the problems are. You'll know what you're buying then. And if there are issues and problems, you very often can get those resolved by working with the seller and getting a better price as a result of that. So be sure to get an RV inspection by a certified NRVIA inspector on those older coaches. Finally, my next recommendation is something a lot of people don't do and they really should. And that is you should get a fluid analysis performed on the engine, the drivetrain or transmission, and on the generator, especially if it has one of those diesel generators. Get a fluid analysis done. Why? Because the fluid analysis will tell you what's going on inside that engine or inside that radiator or inside the transmission or generator better than almost anything else that you can do, even better than a mechanic. A mechanic can tell you a lot from looking at the outside, but this actually tells you what's going on the inside when you get a fluid analysis. And so if you're buying something that old, then you really need to know what shape the engine, drivetrain, and generator is in. So if you'll follow those 3 things, then you really should be in good shape if you buy an older diesel pusher motorhome. Now, I did those things. And I have a 2004 Newmar Country Star diesel pusher, and I am very happy with it. I love it. And there's a lot of other folks like me. I know several people who have older coaches as well, and they love them. In fact, many of us prefer these older coaches and the quality that's built into them than to what we see being rolled off the assembly line today. And so it's really a viable consideration to buy these older coaches, and you get the advantage of getting them at much less and being able to also have quality at the same time. In other words, Bottom line is this. This is a way to enjoy RV travel at its finest with all the luxuries for so much less than what you would spend today. Well, that's it for now. Have safe and happy travels, my friends. Until next time.